Okay, let's talk for a couple of minutes about passive voice. Reading over a lot of your submissions, it's become clear to me that many of you are a little confused by the difference between passive voice and active voice. What these refer to is they refer to the verbs that we use when we write. Passive voice is any version of to be, is, was, has been. Active is any verb that actually talks about something you do. Kick, fly, sing. Now here's the difference. In passive voice you might use passive, for instance, to talk about relationships. Think of passive almost as an equal sign in math. So, John is a student, or the sky is beautiful today, or what in the world is my professor doing on campus on a Saturday? Those are all passive, and they're fine to create those relationships. Where we run into trouble is when we take sentences that should be active and turn them into passive. Now here's a good example. Let's take the story of Little Red Riding Hood. We all know that story, but what if we told that story using passive voice? One day, well, it's going to take me a minute to figure this out because I'm used to trying to make everything active. But let's say one day a path was walked down by Little Red Riding Hood, and a jump was made by a wolf, and Little Red Riding Hood was scared. Does that sound a little strange to you? I think it would sound strange to a 3-year-old if you tried to tell the Little Red Riding Hood story that way. Your 3-year-old would say, no, 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 no. Little Red Riding Hood walked down a path. Okay? A path wasn't walked down by her, which is passive, but she walked down a path. A jump wasn't made by the wolf, but the wolf jumped out at her, and the wolf frightened her. Right? She was frightened. So anytime that we can take a to be verb, a passive verb, and change it to active because there's some action actually going on, the better off we are. Now one of the things you'll notice when we're doing those action verbs is somebody's doing something. Right? Little Red Riding Hood is walking down the path. The wolf is jumping. Now in the other way, it's the path was walked down by Little Red Riding Hood. Who's doing the walking? It's pushed way back in the back of the sentence. Or a jump was made by the wolf. Who's doing the jumping? Again, it's pushed back at the end of the sentence. So whenever you've got an actor, somebody doing something, like a wolf, and the something being done, jumping, you've got active. Whenever you've got something sort of strange at the beginning of the sentence, like a path or a jump, and a to be verb, you've got passive, and you want to switch those around.